When the police cruiser's lights started flashing against the siding of my house, the graduation party went dead silent. The DJ cut the music. The laughter near the keg stopped. 50 people, neighbors, family, friends stood, frozen, holding red solo cups and paper plates, watching two officers walk up the driveway. My son, Richard, was standing on the patio. He was wearing his Duke University class of 2028 t-shirt, a sash that said Valedictorian, and a smile that was slowly faltering. He looked at the cops, then he looked at me. He didn't look scared, though. He looked annoyed. He looked like someone had interrupted his coronation. When the officer asked him to put his hands behind his back, my wife screamed. My sister dropped her plate, but I didn't move. I stood by the back gate, holding my niece's trembling hand, and I watched them handcuff my son. Richard locked eyes with me as they walked him down the path. "Dad," he shouted, his voice cracking for the first time. "Dad, tell them. Fix this." I didn't say a word. I didn't step forward to call a lawyer. I didn't offer to pay bail. I just watched the boy I had raised, the boy everyone thought was perfect, get shoved into the back of a squad car. He thought his future was protected by his grades, his charm, and my last name. He didn't realize that 20 minutes ago, I had decided to burn his future to the ground to save someone else's, to understand why a father would do that to his only son. You have to understand what happened an hour before the sirens started wailing. It was supposed to be the best day of my life. The backyard was decked out in blue and white balloons. We had a caterer flipping burgers, a cooler full of champagne, and a banner that read, "Congratulations, Richard. The future is bright." And it was bright. Richard wasn't just graduating. He was the top of his class. He was captain of the varsity swim team. He had a full ride to Duke. He was the kid every parent prayed for: polite, charismatic, handsome. I spent the first 2 hours of that party accepting handshakes and backslaps. "You must be so proud," my neighbor Bob said, clapping me on the shoulder. "He's going to the world someday." "I know." I beamed. "He's a good kid." I believed that. I believed it with every fiber of my being. Around 3 p.m., things were winding down a bit. The older relatives were sitting in lawn chairs, and the teenagers were getting rowdy by the pool. I was heading to the cooler to grab a water when I felt a tug on my sleeve. It was my niece, Jade. Jade is my sister's kid. She's a quiet girl, a year younger than Richard. She's always been the shy one, the kind of kid who sits in the corner reading during family gatherings. She looked pale. Sick, almost. She was hugging a cardigan around herself despite it being 80 degrees out. "Uncle Mark?" She whispered, "Can I talk to you? Somewhere private?" "Sure, kiddo," I said, thinking she was having boy trouble or maybe anxiety about the crowd. "Let's go to the side yard." We walked around the side of the house, away from the noise of the party. The bass from the speakers was just a thudding vibration in the ground here. Jade stopped near the AC unit. She wouldn't look at me. She was picking at her fingernails, tearing the skin. "What's going on?" I asked gently. "You okay?" "It's about Richard," she said. Her voice was so quiet I almost missed it. My stomach gave a weird little lurch. "What about him? Is he drinking too much? I can cut him off." "No," she said. She took a shaky breath. Uncle Mark, he's been doing things." To me, the words hung in the air. I heard them, but my brain refused to process them. "Doing things?" I repeated stupidly. "What do you mean?" She looked up then, and her eyes were red-rimmed and terrified. "For 3 years. At Christmas. At Easter. Whenever the family gets together. He finds me when no one is looking. He corners me. He touches me. He makes me do things." The world tilted. I felt like I was underwater. "Jade," I said, my voice steady but cold. "That's a very serious accusation. Are you sure you're not ... misunderstanding?" I hate myself for asking that. I hate that my first instinct was to defend him. "But he was my son, my golden boy." "I knew you wouldn't believe me," she said, tears spilling over. "He said you wouldn't. He told me, I'm the son. You're just the cousin. He'll pick me every time." That sounded like Richard. Not the Richard the first showed the world, But the Richard I sometimes saw when he lost a video game or didn't get his way arrogant, entitled. He said that. He said a lot of things, Jade said. She reached into her pocket and pulled out her phone. Her hands were shaking so hard she almost dropped it. I didn't want to tell you without proof. I was too scared. But today he cornered me in the bathroom inside. He said since he's leaving for college, he wanted a goodbye present. She unlocked the phone and handed it to me. I wish I hadn't looked. I wish I could scrub the images from my brain. But I looked. It wasn't just texts, it was videos. Videos taken in my house, in my guest room. Videos of my son, my smiling, valedictorian son, forcing my sobbing niece into corners. His voice was on the recordings, low and threatening. Stop crying, he said in one video. You know you want it. Don't act like a victim. I scrolled up to the texts. Richard, you better be in the laundry room in 5 minutes. Richard, don't make me come find you. Richard, go ahead and tell them. Who are they going to believe? The future CEO or the weirdo? I'm going to duke Jade. I'm untouchable. I felt bile rise in my throat. I handed the phone back to her. My hands were shaking now, too. He sent that last one this morning, Jade whispered. I looked back toward the backyard. Through the wooden slats of the fence, I could see Richard. He was standing on a picnic table, popping a bottle of champagne, spraying it over his friends. Everyone was cheering. He looked like a king. Stay here, I said. My voice sounded strange to my own ears. Hollow, what are you going to do? Jade grabbed my arm. Please, don't just talk to him. He'll hurt me? I'm not going to talk to him. I said, I need you to stay here. Do not move. I walked back into the party. Everything looked different now. The balloons looked cheap. The banner looked like a lie. I watched my wife laughing with my sister Jade's mom. My sister had no idea that 10 feet away, her daughter was falling apart because of my son. I needed to be sure. I needed one final nail in the coffin before I destroyed my family. I walked into the house. It was cool and quiet inside. I went upstairs to Richard's room. It was clean, filled with trophies, swimming medals, debate club plaques. His laptop was open on his desk. I tapped the spacebar. It wasn't password protected, why would it be? He was the golden child. He had nothing to hide from us. I opened his messages. It was all there, linked to his phone. The conversation with Jade was at the top, but then I saw others. A girl from his chem class. A girl from the swim team. Send the pics or I tell everyone you cheated. I'll ruin your reputation. It wasn't just Jade. He was a predator. He had built this perfect life by standing on the necks of girls he had terrified into silence. He used his reputation as a weapon. I heard the sliding glass door downstairs open. Dad? I froze. I turned around. Richard was standing in the doorway of his bedroom. He had a half-eaten burger in one hand. He looked annoyed. Mom said you were looking for me. We're about to cut the cake? People are waiting for the speech? I looked at him. Really looked at him. I didn't see my son anymore. I saw a stranger wearing my son's face. I spoke to Jade. I said. Richard didn't flinch. He didn't gasp. He just took a bite of his burger and chewed slowly. The arrogance was breathtaking. Okay, he said, mouthful. And she's being weird today? Drama queen? She showed me the texts, Richard. She showed me the videos. He stopped chewing. He swallowed. For a second, I saw a flash of calculation in his eyes. He was running the numbers, assessing the threat. Dad, come on, he said, stepping into the room and closing the door. She's obsessed with me. It's gross. We messed around a few times, yeah, but she started getting clingy. I had to cut her off. Now she's trying to make me look bad because I'm leaving. I saw the video where you forced her into the bathroom, I said quietly. I saw the text where you told her you were untouchable. Richard sighed. He actually rolled his eyes. He walked over to his desk and leaned against it, crossing his arms. Look, Dad, we're men. We know how it is. Sometimes girls say no when they mean yes to not look like sluts. It's a game. I played the game. It's rape, Richard. It's not rape if she doesn't fight back, he snapped. The mask slipped completely then. His face twisted into a sneer. And seriously? You're going to ruin my day over this? I'm going to Duke in 2 months. I have a scholarship. You really want to blow that up because Jade can't take a joke. He pushed off the desk and walked toward me, putting a hand on my shoulder. Dad, think about the family. Think about Mom. If this gets out, it destroys us. Jade is ... She's nobody. I'm your son. I'm the legacy. Just tell her to shut up, buy her a car or something, and let's go cut the cake. He squeezed my shoulder, confident. He thought he had me. He thought that because we shared DNA, I was an accomplice. He thought that my pride in his achievements outweighed his character. He was right about one thing. He was my legacy. And I realized right then that my legacy was a monster. I reached up and removed his hand from my shoulder. You're right, I said. This is going to destroy your mother. Richard smiled, relief washing over him. Exactly. Glad you're being rational. I'll go wash up. He turned to leave the room. Richard, I said. He stopped. You're not going to Duke. He laughed, a sharp bark of a sound. Yeah, okay. I'll see you downstairs. He walked out. I took my phone out of my pocket. I looked at the wallpaper, a picture of me fishing when he was 10. I stared at it for 5 seconds, mourning the kid I thought I had raised. Then I dialed 911. 911. What is your emergency? I need police at 42 Oak Street, I said. I have evidence of sexual assault, and a minor is in danger. The perpetrator is still on the premises. Sir, are you safe? Yes, I said. I'm his father. I hung up. I didn't go downstairs immediately. I downloaded the chat logs from his computer to a USB drive I had in my desk. I forwarded the videos Jade sent me to my own email. I secured the evidence. Then I walked downstairs. Richard was by the cake, knife in hand, laughing at something his mother was saying. My wife looked up and waved at me to come over. I walked past them out the side door and found Jade. She was sitting on the ground, hugging her knees. Uncle Mark? She asked, terrified. It's over, I said. I called them. We stood there in silence until we heard the sirens. When the police walked into the backyard, the music died. I saw the confusion on everyone's faces. I saw Richard's smug expression turn into annoyance. He actually tried to talk his way out of it at first. When the officer approached him, Richard laughed. Officer, seriously. Someone prank called you. We're just having a party. Are you Richard Miller? The officer asked. Yes, but we received a call regarding sexual assault. We need you to come with us. Who called? Richard demanded, looking around the crowd. Who the hell called you? Jade. Where is she? I called, I said. I stepped out from the side gate. The crowd parted from me. My wife looked at me like I had grown a second head. Mark, she gasped. What are you saying? Richard looked at me. The color drained from his face. Dad, what are you doing? I gave them the videos, Richard, I said, my voice carrying across the silent yard. I gave them the texts. The ones where you told Jade no one would believe her because you're the golden boy. The ones where you threatened to ruin the lives of those girls at school. The crowd gasped. My sister Jade's mom let out a sound that was half scream, half sob. You're lying, Richard screamed. He lunged toward me, but the officers grabbed him. They spun him around and slammed him against the patio table, right next to his graduation cake. You're crazy? Richard yelled as the cuffs clicked. Mom, stop him. He's ruining my life. My wife looked at me, tears streaming down her face. Mark, tell me this isn't true. Please. I looked at her. Then I looked at my sister, who was running toward Jade in the side yard. I wish it wasn't, I said. But he's not who we thought he was. They dragged him out. That was the moment, the one I described at the start. The golden boy being shoved into a cruiser while the neighbors watched. The aftermath was exactly as nuclear as I expected. The party ended instantly. My wife spent the first night screaming at me, accusing me of betraying our family. She didn't want to see the proof. She wanted to believe her son. But the next morning, I made her watch the videos. I made her read the texts. I watched the light go out of her eyes. I watched her heart break in real time. She threw up in the kitchen sink and didn't speak for 3 days. Richard didn't get bail. The judge saw the threats of witness intimidation in the texts and considered him a flight risk. The letter to Duke was rescinded within a week. The scholarship was gone. The high school scrubbed his name from the website. But the hardest part wasn't the legal stuff. It was the family. Half of my relatives blocked my number. They called me a traitor. They said I should have handled it in-house. They said I shouldn't have ruined a young man's potential over mistakes. But then there was Jade, 2 weeks after the arrest. I was sitting on my porch, drinking a coffee I didn't want. Jade's car pulled up. She walked up the steps. She looked different. She was standing straighter. She wasn't wearing a bulky sweater to hide herself. My mom said you're paying for my therapy, she said. It's the least I can do, I said. She sat down next to me. Everyone is saying you're a bad father for what you did to Richard. I know. You're not, she said. She reached out and took my hand. You're the only father figure I have who actually protected me. You saved my life, Uncle Mark. I was thinking about ending it. Before the party, I didn't think there was a way out. I squeezed her hand. I felt tears prick my eyes for the first time since the party. I didn't lose a son that day, Jade, I told her. I realized I never really knew him. But I wasn't going to let him destroy you to keep up the charade. Richard is currently serving 5 years. He writes me letters sometimes. He blames me. He blames the system. He blames Jade. He hasn't taken responsibility once. Every letter just confirms I did the right thing. Sometimes being a good parent doesn't mean protecting your child from the world. Sometimes it means protecting the world from your child. And if I had to go back to that graduation party with the balloons and the champagne and the lie of a perfect future, I'd burn it all down again.